Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to continue on with our Waterloo project update in 28mm. Alright, so as you might know, I am collecting figures, painting them up, getting them ready for a 28mm black powder game. I'm collecting enough figures, or I'm planning on collecting enough figures to be able to play about 1/3 of Waterloo, and then we're gonna split it up in various battles. But the first step in that process is collecting enough forces to do Quatre Bras. Once I've got enough forces to do Quatre Bras, then we can move on to some forces on the Allied right flank near Hougoumont, and luckily most of the forces in Quatre Bras also participate at Hougoumont, and plus I can proxy. That's why I'm only doing about 1/3 the figures, because that way, like hypothetically, I could use the second corps to represent the first corps, but I might have to modify like certain cavalry, artillery, or infantry units, but 90% of it I'm sure I'll be able to proxy. Same thing with the Allied, like one Netherlands division can be another Netherlands division. Okay, so this right here, if you were watching our morning live stream, we do a live stream on Wednesdays called Wargaming Wednesday. It starts at 11 a.m. Central Time. I started this a couple of weeks ago, and this morning we were finishing up the 2 battalions of light infantry that I needed to finish my light infantry units at Quatre Bras. Both of them are the 2nd Battalion. This is and you can tell that by the white guidon. 2nd Battalions carried the white guidon. 3rd Battalion usually carried a red guidon. And of course, the 1st Battalion would carry the national colors. Okay, so in this unit, these front elite companies in skirmish formation are Victrix models, and the second rank here is all Warlord Games models, except for the officer, the standard bearer, and the drummer. And in this case, the sapper, this stand here is front rank metals, but the rest are all plastic. These guys are Victrix plastics, and these guys are the Warlord Center companies. I think they turned out pretty good. This is the 2nd Battalion of the 1st Legere Regiment, which I noticed that the sapper on my plate, and that's what I go by. I'm actually going by someone else's research on, and he did research on the sapper. He actually has tan straps. If you take a look, you can see that he's got tan straps, which are a little bit darker than everyone else has the white straps. Yeah, which matches his tan apron. Okay. Yeah, and this 1st Battalion, or the 2nd Battalion of the 1st Regiment. The 1st Regiment was called the King's Regiment. The 2nd Regiment, which is the one I'm going to be pulling out second, was called the Queen's Regiment, if I remember right. And in the King's Regiment, in the plates, it shows off these elite companies carrying their own little guidons mounted on bayonets. So I went ahead and did those. I did use the Grenadier bearskins, which is probably not 100% accurate. They're probably supposed to be Shakos, and these Shakos are probably supposed to have the same type of plumes that these guys have, the little shortened double knit plumes, but I wanted them to have those, which is probably an earlier war style, more parade style, but I didn't care. You'll also notice that the greatcoats, right? The greatcoats, either from Victrix or from Warlord, are all various colors. They're not all the same. I used a lot of like drab. I used ochre. I used field gray. I used light gray. I used dark gray. I even used a color called greatcoat gray. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of variety on the colors on the coats, but I like that. I also decided, as a conscious decision, to make all of them with blue pants. I understand during the Waterloo campaign, blue pants was the uniform, but not every troop possessed blue pants. Some of them had brown, some of them had striped or even white pants. But I made a conscious decision to go ahead and make my light unit blue pants, as in the uniform. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the next battalion. All right, now this is the 2nd Battalion of the 2nd Legere, organized exactly the same way. We've got the Grenadiers in bearskin, the lights in the tall plumes. We'll also notice that these guys have green epaulets, where these guys had the yellow epaulets. That was a difference in those units. Also, in this unit, they're all Warlord except for the 3, the standard bearer, the officer, and the drummer. But I have an extra Grenadier back here representing the sapper, but that is also a Warlord figure with just a Grenadier head. Yeah, that's a Warlord figure. I was having to double check. I was wondering if it was a Victrix model, but no, these are all Victrix up here. And then these are, and now the Grenadier heads on both battalions are not Victrix. The Grenadier heads are actually from Perry, where this Grenadier head is a Warlord Grenadier head. Okay, so you'll notice there's a few variations of poses and organization. This Grenadier doesn't have the tan straps. These elite companies don't have their unique standards or their little guidons. Also, this drummer, he's wearing a green jacket and not a blue jacket. This standard bearer obviously is a greatcoat. I found one of my Victrix standard bearers with greatcoat, so that was awesome. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty much, this guy's playing the drums instead of having his drum on his back. But other than that, what I like to do is hypothetically represent one stand is a company, and I use the blue, the purple, and the orange, and almost never the green for the center companies, even though there should be a blue, a purple, and an orange, and also a green. But I don't want to confuse the center company with a green pom-pom with the Voltigears that also have yellow and green combinations a lot of times. So I tend to avoid green in my center companies. Yeah, other than that, I think these guys look really good. These guys are magnetized bases. So just like I normally do, I take a 40 by 40 magnet and I mount my units. Okay, I got that caught underneath the other guy. I mount them on the magnet so that when they're not in mixed formation, when they're actually formed up, you know, you're looking at a unit like that. And then I can move these figures around as if they were just a base. And I do the same with the Grenadiers. So it winds up being 6 bases. All right, so that is what I had just finished. Now, this unit I finished after I washed these guys. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I went back and did the white. Ouch, poked myself with a spear tip. I went back and I actually did the drum cords because I'd forgotten to do those before I washed it this morning. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you some figures that I'm getting ready to work on next, and I should have them done shortly. But here, let me pull them out. Let me show you. All right, so these are some Perry models that I had cleaned up, washed, put them on their popsicle base. All right, so this unit is the NASA Jaegers. It's a small battalion, so I'm mounting it with 12 figures. My initial plan was to have 2 bases with 6 figures on each base, right? A 3 and a 3. And then I could take them and I could form a line, and then I could form a column. But after doing a little bit of research, I'm realizing that this NASA Jaeger battalion should be able to form mixed formation. It also should be able to form skirmish formation, which it doesn't matter if I mount them on 4s, because I could just take my 3 bases and spread them out and say that they're in skirmish formation, right? Put them about a base apart. But I don't want to do that because of mixed formation. So I could base 2 of them. This is where I'm leaning. I could base 2 of them on a 4 figure base, a 40 by 40, and then mount 2 on a 20 by 40, making 1 skirmish style base, right, without the magnet. Okay, making these bases thicker, and then that way when I deploy them, I can put, here, let me kind of show you with other figures so you can see. Okay, so there would be the 2 4x4s, or 2 4 figure bases, and then the 2 figure bases back here for a total, be like a 4 wide and 3 deep. I don't think that'll work, because then I could take these and mount them out front as skirmishers, and that's perfectly fine. But this is not a legitimate formation. That's not even a 3 rank line. It's not even it is a 3 rank line. It's not even a march column. So to represent a March column, I might have to do something like this. Say that's a March column. Not a March column, an attack column. I don't know if the Nassau troops can form attack column. I think they might only form column of companies. And if they form column of companies, then I can do that, and that would be fine. But but that looks like a March column. Okay, so if I take this base off, that could be a column by companies. And then if I was to put all 6 bases out there, then that would be a March column. And then if they deploy in line, you'd have the full line, right? So far so good. Or I can mount them all with these half bases, so it'd make it a lot easier for me to deploy them in skirmish, because any of them can be skirmishers. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it, so that's just me giving you a heads up for my small battalion. Okay, and I'm not doing just that one small battalion. I'm doing a second small battalion. Let me show you those figures. Okay, and these figures are also Perry, but these are my Hanover volunteers. They had 2 companies of Hanover volunteers, which are treated as Jaegers, very similar to my Nassau Jaegers. The paint schemes are pretty similar, pretty close. That's why I was going to go ahead and do them both at the same time. Plus, they're small units, so I should be able to knock them out pretty quickly. But this is supposed to represent 2 companies. And so by putting these figures on the 2 6-figure bases, I should have no problem, because then it would just be one base represents a company. It would just be a very large company, 150 figures, 150 men per company. But backing up a little bit, these are supposed to be able to deploy in skirmish and in mixed as well. So so I don't know. I'm going to have to do a little I have time, because I'm going to paint them, and that's going to take a day. So while I'm painting, or in between dry times or whatever, I'm going to do a little bit of research on exactly how I want to, and a little thought exercise, and try to determine exactly how I want to deploy these. I could just go ahead and mount them, every one of them individually, on a single base, and then just have at it in any formation. But I'd rather not do that. If I did individuals on some of the figures, and like a couple of 4-figure bases, or better yet, if I do like 1 6-figure base and then six single figures, I could put them in March column. I could put them in, no, I couldn't put them in March column, because it would be 3 across and I wouldn't be able to get deep enough. I have to go 2 wide. I have to get a 2 wide base to get a March column. Because if I went 3 figures wide, the deepest I could get, oh no, that's not true. I could get 4 figures deep, and that is considered a March column. But I couldn't do a column of companies or an attack column, because if I remove the back stand, then it's just one stand. You don't really have an attack column or anything there. Yeah, I understand putting two bases side by side forms a line, and then putting one base behind each other makes a march column, but column of companies or an attack column would be problematic. So I'm going to have to try to do a little math, little finagling as well with the Nassau Jaegers, which is actually a battalion of Jaegers. Well, according to the TONE, it shows them as two companies from a battalion, and it shows this as two companies as well. But in my scenario pamphlet, it shows the who does it show? It shows the Hanover guys as a small battalion. It doesn't even show the Nassau guys. But then when you go into the Army book, it shows the Nassau guys as a battalion, and the Hanover guys as volunteer companies, or something like that. I'm gonna do a little research, so just bear with me, guys. That's what we're working on. Yeah. So to recap, we finished every light battalion I'm going to need for Quatre Bras for the French, and now I'm working on a couple of light battalions for the Nassau and the Hanover guys for the Allied side. They're Jaegers. All right. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for coming out and watching this one.